When our little perfume bottle is dried out fully, you can see that it goes a very light white colour, and that's where you can really tell the difference, that all the moisture has gone out of your piece. So it's now safe for you to start to do some sanding and refining. And what I'm using are some little sanding sponges. If you've seen any of my other videos, you can get these from automotive places like Halfords in the UK. It's like a car place where you can get car accessories and that kind of thing, because they're like different gradients of grit that you can use for sanding down bodies of cars, you know, if they've had a scratch or something like that. So they're really good, these, and they've got this sponge inside as well, so you can just chop them up. They come in a bigger size pad, and then you can cut them down to the kind of size that you want to use for your sanding your pieces. And then you just start smoothing and getting rid of any of the imperfections that happened while you were making your piece. So that's what I'm doing. You can see quite a lot of dust comes off it, and I've actually already done a lot of sanding on this piece before the video. So I'm just going to get a brush, and make sure that you wear a mask when you're doing this. Just a cloth face mask is fine. It just stops you from inhaling any of the dust, which isn't good for you. It's not good for your insides. So we just, you know, if you can do this outside, here in the UK, spring is coming along very swiftly. So it's good to be able to do this outdoors, and then you don't have to worry about inhaling any of the dust or it floating around in the atmosphere, especially when you're painting. So I'm going to just move these out of the way. And as I said, I've already done quite a lot of refining on this piece, so it doesn't really need much more. And I'm just going to use some baby wipe to wipe around. And now I'm just going to bring my, this is called a banding wheel, so you can use these for cake decorating, also for clay. This is a nice heavy one that I got from eBay. It's really good quality. So I'm just putting a piece of Teflon sheet down so I don't get any paint on my banding wheel. And we're going to talk about the design that we want to do. So before you start painting, before you dive in, it's always a really good idea to have your design planned out really carefully. So let's just move this to one side for a second. And I'm just going to bring in the design that I created earlier. And as you can see, there's two different designs. So this was the peacock design for this original perfume bottle that I did. And that is using these metallic, they're called Deco Art Dazzling Metallics. So we've got gold, which I did the majority of the outside of the piece and the back of the piece with, which is a really nice finish, this metallic gold. And then for the second layer down on that peacock feather effect, I'm using the teal, and for the top as well, the stopper. And then finally we've got the festive green, which is that lovely light green there. And then what I did, just to define that each of those different colorways, was I used a blue. Let's see where it is. Where's it gone? It was like a dark blue acrylic paint. Haven't got it here, but you know, if you don't have a dark blue, you can always mix a little bit of black in with it, and I just went around the edge with it. And then I also mixed a little bit of black in with the festive green to create this darker green around the edge of the green part. And then that darker blue was there for the centre, almost like that little heart shape in the centre there and around that blue one. So what I did was I painted out my artist's impression of what I wanted it to look like before I actually went ahead and did it on the perfume bottle. Let's just zoom in slightly. Now for this perfume bottle that we've got that we're going to be painting here, I'm going to do this Art Deco design. The black and white, I think it's going to look very effective. I think it's going to look very striking. And my stopper is actually this shape. So I'm not doing that diamond shaped stopper, but I can do another stopper, you know, another time. There's no limitations. We can, you know, if you don't like the stopper you've made, you can make another one, or you can make different ones that you use at different times. Or just put flowers in your perfume bottle. So you can see that I've got this black and white geometric design, and that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to use for our perfume bottle today, for this one. So let me just zoom you out slightly. So what I find is the best way to approach this is to draw your design out onto your bottle. So decide which side you want front facing. So I want it to be that way. Get myself a little, this is a tiny ruler, and I've got a pencil. So I'm just going to just draw out. So the bottom of there is 4 centimetres. So I'm just going to mark it with a pencil. And I've got my centimetre intervals there, 1 centimetre intervals. And this is so I can work out where I want to actually put my lines. So it's 6.5 across here at the top. So let's go up to there. So we've got 6. So I can have a centre point there. Just going to mark that there. So that's my centre. Just going to make sure that it does, because sometimes it looks central to on the ruler, but it doesn't look central to the eye, so we always go with the eye. So can you see it doesn't look terribly centered, so I'm going to go a little bit further over so that when I look at it by eye it looks centered. Just get rid of that, and you can just use an eraser on this and get rid of the line. So I've got my center line there, and then I'm just going to come out from here 2 centimetres to get my other lines. So it wants to be, just go from the exact same distance, 2 centimetres, which is there. Hopefully that's going to look okay. So I'm going to draw my line along here down to the bottom. You can do this however you want to. If you don't want to do this design, you can create your own. But just showing you how I'm mapping the design out here on my bottle. That looks good. I like that. You could even carve into it if you want to. So you could get a small embossing tool, get one with a really fine head on it, and then you can just very gently carve into the clay, which is what I've done here. I just used an embossing tool and a ruler, and I carved down through the clay to get this sun ray effect on it. But we're not going to do that today. We're just going to use the colours of the paint to create the effect. And so then I'm going to go another 2 centimetres. And then into the centre there like that. If you don't get this right first time, you can just rub your lines out and do it again. Okay, so this is going to be my central point with the black going all the way up. I don't really need to rub that line out because it's going to be covered in black. So that's going to be black, that's going to be white, and then these two are going to be black. Now, as I can see by eye, that looks wider than that one. So again, I'm just going to make a small adjustment and make a line. And that looks much more symmetrical to me now when I do that. It just looks so much better. So there we go, we've got our lines drawn. Now we can start adding our paint. Now on this occasion I'm not putting any gesso down. Sometimes I use gesso, sometimes I don't. But it's, you know, it's up to you. You can use gesso if you want to. I've got my paint palette here. I've actually made this out of air drying clay. So it does stain a little bit, but I really like it, and I just use my fingers to press So I created a circle shape quite thick, and then I pressed in with my thumb to create the indentations for the paint, and I really like it. I really enjoy working with it. So we're going to put our black paint in there. Zoom in a little bit for you. And I'm going to start to paint our bit here. So I'm going to use quite a fine paintbrush to do the edges. Hopefully this is fine enough. If not, we'll keep on going finer. So I'm going to just go down there. You could use some washi tape, which I'm going to show you actually is a really good way to mark off your areas. So it's just basically paper tape, and you can pop that down onto your clay, and it creates a bit of a more defined line there. So you can give that a try. Now sometimes it doesn't stick. This washi tape's not very sticky, and sometimes you have to score it down with your fingers. Give it a go and see if it works. But that is a way of making sure that the paint doesn't go into the area that you don't want it to go into. Or if you've got a very steady hand, see, that hasn't worked very well because my piece is very dusty. And you know how the air drying clay can be a bit fluffy because it's got these fibres in it that keeps it stronger, gives it strength. And that can make it a bit of a nightmare for the washi tape to stick on. I find the washi tape works really well on ceramic clay, not so much on air drying clay, but we gave it a go. Maybe you've got more sticky washi tape than I have. But I'll let you into a secret. We're not really going to get too worried about the lines because we're going to put some little faux pearls on. That is going to cover up any wonkiness in the lines. Thank goodness for faux pearls, eh? And you know, if you just take your time and you're very neat, you don't need to worry too much about having something there as like a barrier, as a line straightening device, because you can get it pretty even. So I do like this. Now with the black, what I find with my acrylic black is that it does tend to be a bit patchy, so I usually like to give it 2 coats at least. Once that first coat has fully dried, I'll go in and give it a second coat. I'm going to paint the top with this. I'm going to go over here. Now what I'm not going to do for the purposes of this particular perfume bottle is I'm not going to do the same design on the back. I'm just going to make the back and the front and the sides are going to have the colour pattern, but the back is just going to be completely black because it just makes my life so much easier. And I'll just have this front facing, and you will never know. But you can, of course, do this any way you wish because it is your perfume bottle. So that is what we're going to do. I'll also go inside, show you doing this. Make sure that the inside is the same. So what I would urge you to do is to experiment with your designs and do some paintings, do some drawing, some artist impression first of all before you start committing to painting your perfume bottle, because you're kind of stuck once you've done that. And you want it to look as good as you possibly can. You want it to look how you'd like it to look, and that's the idea behind creating this mock-up. Plus it's really fun. It's nice to have your original paintings and drawings of what you intended the piece of pottery to look like what you wanted for this piece, and how it's actually come to life, which is really lovely. Okay, so that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to carry on painting, doing those other designs on there, that geometric design. Then we're going to come back once everything is dry. I'm going to seal the piece, and that is the point at which I'm going to put those little pearl embellishments on. So I'll join you then for that video.